Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are today. This is the Algebra 1 7.4 Practice A worksheet. We're going to do this one together, and so hopefully you have the worksheet with you. I'm going to do my best I can to explain the problems out in such a way that you can write them down, so let's get started. Here's number 1, 3 to the 6th power over 3 to the 2nd power. In this lesson, I want to teach you that when you have a quotient of bases that are the same, you'll subtract the powers. So 6 minus 2 is 4, so this becomes 3 to the 4th power, which is 81. So number 1 is 81. B to the 8th power divided by b to the 5th power. 8 minus 5 is 3, so this becomes b to the 3rd power. T to the 2nd power divided by t to the 7th power. 2 minus 7 is negative 5, but we cannot leave the answer with a negative power, so this reciprocates into 1 over t to the 5th power. S to the 3rd power times t to the 4th divided by s squared raised to the 3rd. So the first thing we have to do is use the power to power property. So 2 times 3 is 6. Now we subtract the powers of like bases. So this becomes s raised to the 3 minus 6 times t to the 4th. That becomes s to the negative 3 times t to the 4th, and only negative powers reciprocate. So this gives us t to the 4th divided by s to the 3rd power. AB all squared divided by a to the 5th b squared all cubed. So here we use the power to power property. So this becomes a squared b squared over a to the 15th b to the 6th. Now we subtract powers of like bases. So 2 minus 15 is negative 13. 2 minus 6 is negative 4. Cannot leave the answer with negative powers, so this becomes 1 over a to the 13th b to the 4th. Number 6, x to the 3rd y over quantity x squared y cubed all to the 2nd. First, we have to use the power to power property. So this becomes x cubed y over x to the 4th y to the 6th. 3 take away 4 is negative 1. 1 take away 6 is negative 5. These reciprocate into 1 over x to the 1st, y to the 5th. Number 7, 4 to the 3rd times 3 to the 4th times 2 to the 3rd, all divided by 3 to the 2nd times 3 to the 4th times 2 to the 3rd. 4 minus 4 is 0, and 3 minus 3 is 0, so this is 4 to the 3rd times 3 to the 0 times 2 to the 0 over 3 to the 2nd. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Any non-zero number to the 0 power is 1, so these are both 1, and that leaves me with 4 cubed over 3 squared, which is 64/9. The fraction of 2/3 to the 4th is the same as 2 to the 4th divided by 3 to the 4th, which is 16 over 81. The fraction x over 4 to the 3rd power is the same as x cubed over 4 cubed, and that's the same as x cubed over 64. Number 10. Another thing I want to teach you in this lesson is that when you raise a fraction to a negative power, that's the same thing as the reciprocal to the positive. So 4/5 to the negative 2 is the same as 5/4 to the positive 2. This becomes 5 squared over 4 squared, and that becomes 25/16. 3ab over 4c squared to the 4th is the same as 3 to the 4th times a to the 4th times b to the 4th over 4 to the 4th times c to the 8th. This becomes 81a to the 4th, b to the 4th, divided by 256 c to the 8th. Number 12, the fraction 2b divided by 3c raised to the negative 3rd power What's new in this lesson is that this becomes the reciprocal, so this is 3c over 2b to the positive 3 power. And now I write this as 3 cubed, c cubed, over 2 cubed, b cubed. And now simplifying, this becomes 27c cubed over 8b cubed. Number 13. Again, a fraction to a negative power is the same as the reciprocal to the positive. So this becomes 4 to the 4th, x to the 8th, y to the 4th, 3 to the 4th, z to the 12th. Simplifying, this becomes 256 x to the 8th, y to the 4th, over 81 z to the 12th. Number 14. N over 4 to the negative 2 times 6 over 3n to the negative 3 becomes 4 over n squared times 3 over 6, 3n over 6 to the third. However, notice that 3 over 6 is the same as 1/2, so this is the same as n over 2. And so that's where I get 4 squared over n squared times n cubed over 2 cubed, which is 16n cubed over 8n squared. 16 divided by 8 is 2, and I subtract the powers. 3 take away 2 is 1, so the final answer is 2n. Number 15. 4.5 times 10 to the 6th divided by 3 times 10 to the negative 2. This becomes 4.5 over 3 times 10 to the 6th over 10 to the negative 2. 4.5 over 3 is the same as 1.5, and 6 minus negative 2 is positive 8. So the final answer here is 1.5 times 10 to the 8th. 16. 1.2 times 10 to the 5th divided by 6 times 10 to the 3rd is the same as 1.2 over 6 times 10 to the 5th over 10 to the 3rd. 1.2 divided by 6 is 0.2. 5 minus 3 is a power of 2, so this is 0.2 times 10 to the 2nd. But that's not scientific notation, because scientific notation always begins with the first digit is non-zero. So I transform the 0.2 into 2.0 times 10 to the negative 1 times 10 to the 2. And now I add the powers. So the final answer is 2.0 times 10 to the 1st. Number 17, Part A and Part B. Write 35 as a scientific number, so this is 3.5 times 10 to the 1st years. And then Part B, find the average per year, 8.75 times 10 to the 6th divided by 3.5 times 10 to the 1st. Well, 8.75 divided by 3.5 is 2.5. 6 minus 1 is 5. And now write that in standard form. This becomes $250,000 per year. And that's practice A. God bless you, wherever you are today.